Hi, thanks so much for joining. I just wanted to provide a quick update on an exciting report that came out a couple of weeks ago from the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine. Hopefully you all have been following along with DCI alerts, recently about this, as well as, going back a few years from all the history that prompted this report. But for just a quick background, NAS released this report. It's kind of been long awaited. We were hoping for earlier this year, but they concluded a study into pay data that was collected by the EEOC. And I know DC has blogged a lot about this over the years, but just, quick reminder that EEOC, in addition to collecting, counts for race and gender and EEO1 category from employers, they also engaged in a kind of a historic first-time data collection of pay data from employers for filing years 2017 and 2018. That data collection was engaged in 2019, so starting in July 2019 through February 2020 is when it officially closed. According to the report that just came out, pay data was collected from 70,000 different employers, covering 100 million workers. And as a reminder, employers with at least 100 employees are required to file these EEO1 reports. And so it was only collected for those 2 years. There's a lot behind that. And so we encourage you to kind of, for additional background, check out some other DCI blogs that we can certainly link to. But the kind of point of this panel was convened really by EEOC. They asked NAS to engage in this, something NAS does often. For studies, they bring together panel members who serve as independent experts. They're not there to represent certain organizations or interest groups. And then once a report is put together, that's reviewed by a second panel. So pretty thorough process. And in this respect, there are 13 different experts from an array of disciplines like labor economics, sociology, statistics, survey design, et cetera. They held several public meetings throughout 2021, used 2022 to finish their report, get that reviewed and approved. And it finally came out and a webinar was held. So some really great work coming out of that panel. And really what they were charged with was to evaluate these 2 years worth of data, again, that had never been collected by EEOC, to see kind of what the purpose of that data collection really could be, as well as the quality of information, and also whether or not they would recommend that the EEOC engage in this data collection. So really high level, their feedback was, yes, this is a great tool and a necessary tool to find and fight pay discrimination. So the board or the panel fully supported that. They did see some issues with the data collection. So they, although they are in support of kind of continuing this data collection, they encourage the EEOC to do a pilot study after they've kind of gone back to the drawing board a bit and looked at what they want to collect. But overall, they supported the data collection. They felt like they could make some adjustments. So instead of W-2 Box 1 earnings, which were collected, the committee recommended that they instead collect W-2 Box 5 earnings. They considered the data collection of base pay rather than W-2 earnings, which, depending upon when you were hired during the year, you might not have a full year's worth. But the panel felt it was important to collect W-2 earnings so it could get in some of those additional compensation factors that are not in base pay. They did feel like the EEOC should collect kind of raw dollar values rather than trying to have respondents put those into pay bands. But they did feel like if they couldn't do the pay band, or that they had to do the pay bands, maybe they should have more of them and have them a little bit smaller, that they were kind of just overly broad and too many people were being bucketed together where it wasn't meaningful. So EEOC will now kind of digest that information. We still would encourage EEOC to consider base pay. It's kind of the simplest data point to collect, then you don't have to collect hours worked. But certainly, we hope the panel will consider that. So for clients and contractors and companies out there, I think you can fully expect that some type of national pay data collection is coming. It's tough to say exactly when, right? Because EEOC, the commissioners cannot even move forward with adding this on until they have enough commissioners kind of as a part of their group, and the recent nominee is being held up for that. So more to come there, but we fully expect that this will kind of stay on the plan, and certainly matters what happens with the next presidential election. Stay tuned, certainly more information to come, but we hope you check out the report and keep up on our client alerts. Thank you.